Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Caprock Life Podcast, the official podcast of Caprock Home Health. We've been in business over 41 years, and we are the largest family-owned home health company in Texas. Our mission is to keep our clients safe, comfortable, and independent in their home. We're a values-based company, and our core values spell the acronym DIRECT because our values direct how we behave. Our core values are drive, integrity, respect, empowerment, compassion, and teamwork. Well, we hope you enjoyed episode 1 of our foundation series where we unpacked Caprock's mission, our core values, and our vision. We also looked at some industry-related news, and we got to know Carlos a little bit better, so that was fun. If you missed this first episode, as its title suggests, Foundation Series, I would really recommend you go back and listen to episode 1 first, because it's going to lay the groundwork for everything we're doing here with these podcasts coming up. So really excited about what's in store. But again, if you haven't listened to episode 1, consider pausing this one, go check that one out, and then come back to episode 2. Well, with me today is our fearless leader, Carlos Morales. Carlos, just in case listeners missed it in episode 1, will you give us a quick overview of who you are?
Sure. So title says Chief Operations Officer, but the purpose is really to make sure that every employee in this company has what they need to be successful. So if you don't know me, I encourage you to come to get to know me, a good resource to have on your side. But also, I think I need to learn a little bit more about you, right? What you bring to the table as far as value for the company, and what value you're looking at of myself. Out of this company. So ideally, if I could sum it up, that's really what my job is.
Love it. Well, glad to have you on as the co-host. And I'm Brad. I'm our Chief People Officer. I've been with Caprock now for 9 years, and I'm in the same boat as Carlos. My goal is to support and empower you and make sure you have everything you need as an employee to succeed and thrive in your role. So very excited to be here. I also want to give a shout out to our amazing producer, David Marmolejo. He's back at the sound desk making this podcast possible. So huge shout out to David. David just celebrated 12 years at Caprock, which is incredible. So big time congrats to David.
When he was a kid. Started when he was a baby.
Started when he was a little baby. That's right. And he serves as our IT manager / now podcast producer. So Thanks for doing what you do, David. Well, as we reboot the Caprock podcast, we're starting with what we're calling the Foundation Series, and this means that we're going to start with some of the critical components that make Caprock who it is and lay out why we do what we do. And today we're going to continue with episode 2 of our Foundation Series, where we will learn a little bit more about the history of Caprock, dive into the services we offer, and also discuss the areas across Texas that we have the privilege of serving. But Carlos, first, each week we want to give our listeners an opportunity to get to know you just a little bit better. And you just shared a little bit about yourself, but let's ask an icebreaker question to get us rolling. Last week I asked, what's one thing about you that would surprise most people? And we learned that you love some old school hip hop music, even though you wouldn't drop any bars for us.
The ones I like are not appropriate. So.
We'll save that. This is a family-friendly show.
That's right.
But for this week, let's ask, if you weren't in healthcare, what would your dream job be?
So if I were able to choose, right, I would have loved to have been a Major League Baseball player. Obviously, you don't get to choose that. You got to earn it. And I didn't have the skill sets or the talent enough to make it to that level. So if there was another option, I always think about it, even if I look at it now, I don't think I'd go back into anything that didn't relate to helping people, right? And so this is a little fun part of it, but I do it because I love food. I think food can absolutely help people. It can comfort people. It can drive a whole lot of the thought process, make them happy, right? Create some nostalgia. Just there's all kinds of certain levels. And so I think I'd love to have been a chef.
Yeah.
I think one of my first jobs outside of this company was in a restaurant. And so I got to see how a smaller kitchen worked, how passionate the chef was, right, about it, how fun it was to work with just a group of people that got to bring joy, and how awesome it was to see the customers enjoy the food and the time and the environment. So I still like to cook periodically, try some fun things every now and then. We don't get too creative because our 3 little girls are very picky at eating. So I don't want to make a whole lot of food that nobody eats. But every now and then, some of our friends will get together and we'll choose a certain theme or just kind of something different and figure out how to make something new.
Yeah.
So
That's great. Well, and you've shared some amazing stories we can get into on future episodes of your experiences, your time working in the restaurant world.
yeah,
And you've got some good ones. So
Yeah,
we'll unpack those in a
there's
future.
some good. Some of those shows that you see, some of those stories are real.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we both love the TV show The Bear.
Oh, it's a great show.
Awesome
Recommend it.
Yeah. Okay, so if you weren't in healthcare, might have been a chef, maybe
might
an
have
MLB
been.
player. Yeah. Well, love that. Well, let's move on. Last time we talked a little bit about some industry related news and we covered kind of some high level trends to keep an eye on. We discussed how with the change in the presidential power, how there's definitely some things that are both concerning and maybe exciting, yet to be determined. So we know that there's going to be a ever increasing need for home health care. The question is, how will it be paid for? What will the new payment models be? So more to come on that. But you just returned from a multi-day TAC winter conference, and I know you sit on several committees with TAC. Maybe tell us what TAC is, and then tell us briefly about the committees you sit on, and share a key takeaway or two that you got from your time there.
So TAC, the acronym stands for Texas Association of Home Care and Hospice. We've been a member of theirs, I think, since as long as I can remember, potentially even when we first started, right? They've been around quite a while. And so they are our advocacy group, right? They bring us tons of resources to help us stay educated on policies that are changing, regulatory changes, and they advocate for us and create opportunities for us as business owners and even employees to participate in these efforts, right? To get to know and network with other people in your field that are like-minded, that are fighting for the same things. It really just kind of builds, the numbers, right? There's power in numbers. And so this last winter conference was really awesome because we got to see a lot of the same people come around, and I think we had an increase in numbers for people actually lobbying at the Capitol. So usually around this time, every 2 years when session's in, they're advocating, right? We're going after change in regulations. We're going after money. Our programs are very underfunded, right? Which is easy to say, and I think we all understand that. So that's always a topic that we chase. And then there's other programs, right, that we will advocate for, even if we don't take them on as a program within our company. It's within the industry, right? And it's a passion that we all share, that we have. So it's really awesome to see people that are even considered competitors collaborate and fight for the greater good, if you will. So we got together over this conference, had a few committee meetings, and then ideally got some education and put our boots to the ground and made some legislator visits, right? So we really got to talk to the staff. If you go there during this time, the Capitol is crazy, right? It's a mess. It's chaos. Everybody in different industries are there trying to fight for their piece of what either needs to change for their own industry and or, money in the surplus to help them, which is a lot of what we're going after. And there are several items that TAC has put on the agenda for us to go and advocate for, to fight for. And so 3 of them that we were discussing that would impact Caprock. One of them is the attendant wage increase. So very positively, we've gotten both an initial copy of the Senate budget and the House budget. And in both of those, it looks like that there's an opportunity for us to improve the reimbursement enough to allow us to pay our attendants $12 an hour. We hope that stays. We want it to be more, but this would be the second year in a row that we could see an actual increase in that category. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, hoping that continues to stay, because obviously the Senate and the House, they have to agree together on these. And with those both being in that same bill, that's very promising. So we're hoping we're going to make some incremental change and be able to pay our attendants more, but it looks like they're looking to push the base wage to $12, which means more reimbursement will come to support that. So that's one that we're looking at. The other one that's very disturbing, and we continue to fight, but it might have more progress this year, is an increase in the service supports, right? So that's the administrative support per unit of billing for the attendant. That's the money we have to pay our staff. That's the money we have to help pay our benefits, to pay for the lights, to pay for our computers, everything else, if you want to call it some of the direct labor or direct staff wages as well as overhead. And so we have not had an increase in that portion of our payment since 2007. So it's incredible going on, I guess, almost 18 years of no increase, right, is just unheard of. Um, but it sounds like it's catching some attention. They're going after a 97 cents increase per unit, which is pretty significant, very significant based upon what we're receiving now. And we hope that goes forward. We hope that passes. I don't know that that's in the Senate bill anywhere at this time or the House bill, but I know we're pushing. And the staffers we talk to seem to understand that because they get it it's incredible that that's been overlooked for so long. And it's a crucial piece to help us continue to move forward, right? To pay our people, to provide better resources for them so we can provide better support for our tenants and in turn create better opportunities of service improvement for our clients. So that one. And then another one that's on there that affects us is EVV, right there. We're pushing to have more of a proprietary system operator, I guess open forum, if you will. They're calling it a PSO, creating more PSO options because right now we're very limited what the state's paying for and what they're choosing not to, but they only have a selected vendor. So it doesn't create an opportunity for competition. It does not create an opportunity for an improvement, opportunities to improve the technology, which would create efficiencies, which eventually would create cost reduction for the state. I just believe it would if they open the door to competition. As long as they meet HHSC requirements, I believe that there should be more options for us to choose our EVV provider. And like I said, more competition brings on innovation, brings on efficiencies, brings on improvement that we can only benefit from. So those are the three top items that we're facing right now that would affect our company with the state. They're chasing some more reimbursement for private duty nursing and pediatric therapy companies, which we advocated for as well. They're underfunded in the market, trying to find staff, certain rates. Market salaries and expectations are going up and reimbursement's not matching it. So it's making it very hard. But I think it was pretty successful. We still got a long ways to go until they get this final budget done. But they're still at it. And I think in April, TAC is taking a march in Washington. So they're going to go tackle the federal programs, which would be our licensed and certified programs. So there's more to come on that one. Don't have a whole lot of updates. That one's going to be a little bit more lengthy. And I think the involvement is already happening. So we've got some things to come for that one.
Yeah, really exciting stuff on the horizon. So thanks for those updates. And I think that's great for our staff and listeners to be informed on those types of things and keep it on their radar. But crazy we haven't seen the support service side, no increases in 18 years.
It's just too long. I don't
Yeah.
understand they expect us to continue to innovate and provide quality service when they don't see the opportunity for us to do that, right, through reimbursement. Right. So, but I think they're catching on. I think they're starting to see it, and they want Texas to be number one. So this is an area you start.
Yeah, man, that's exciting. Okay. Well, thanks to you. Thanks also to, I know Victoria Carrin went and Shannon Steiglater was there also, and maybe Amber Alvarado.
So she was there. She was there for the committee meeting. She didn't go on the lobby visits.
Okay.
But I was in a group with Shannon Steiglater, and so we're talking the same language, fighting for the same things. She's just as passionate as anybody in that group, and we weren't lucky enough to be in the same group as Victoria, but she was there. With another person from Lubbock and people with the same mindset, right? It was a great experience.
Yeah.
So
love it. Yeah, and maybe we can get more of our staff down the road involved in those advocacy and lobbying efforts. So if you're listening and you have any interest in getting involved in that side of us, definitely reach out to us. Well, moving on, let's give a shout out real quick to one of our amazing staff members. Each time we have an episode, we want to give a shout out to a caregiver, a staff member, or even share a patient success story. This episode, I want to give a shout out to Jennifer Sexton. She holds a dual role of attendant recruiter and coordinator in San Antonio. She's been with us for almost 2 years now, and Jessica Cortinas and Rosa Clay from our training team had glowing reviews about her during their recent visit to San Antonio for training. They said she cares deeply about the clients and caregivers, trying to do what is best for everyone, and she just straight up hustles, which I love hearing. And they also said she illuminates our core values of drive and compassion, and they described her as an amazing lady. I can vouch for that. You've met Jennifer. She really is an incredible lady. So, wow, Jennifer, great job, and thanks for being a part of our team.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, moving on to kind of our main discussion today, we're going to look a little bit at the history of Caprock, the services we offer, and discuss our coverage area. So today will be part historical and part informational to help our listeners better understand where Caprock got its start, as well as covering what service lines we offer and also what parts of Texas we serve. So Carlos, let's start with the history lesson. In your own words, can you summarize a brief history of Caprock for us?
Oh man, I've been around it the entire time. Certainly when I was younger, can't remember everything, but it was, there's a purpose. My dad always told me he started the company because he needed a job, right? But I don't know anybody that needs a job and doesn't have money that decides to go ahead and start a company. Certainly when they're starting a family, it's a story that led it here was from Kansas City, right? Working in a healthcare system, being transferred to Lubbock to drive forward and open up a related home health company. Only for it, a couple years in, for it to close, for them to close it, and for him to, instead of going back, stayed here to start his own. And again, he said he'll tell you he started just because he needed a job, but then he'll also tell you, first year or two of the company, there's only one person that got paid, and he was in it. Right? But it's he loved to help people, right? And that's something that's carried over with me too. And so seeing that grow, he loved to help people, and I strongly believe it's both those in need, right, through healthcare as far as our patients, and then also employees, right, helping them grow as employees, as professionals, help them deliver on a passion. I think that's something that we exactly carry over today. Mm-hmm. So the reason this company exists is to help people. It's both sides, both on our patients, our clients, and then our employees. So it was, I think, really founded based upon that. And the reason it grew is because he was able to find people that shared the same passion, that believed in it, and helped push him forward. And so I couldn't imagine the trials and tribulations he overcame to get where he is, although he shared a few, and some you can't share, right? Some you can't share, but then there's others. I know that there's some he held on to just because it was so tough. That he certainly wanted to do this to help his family not have to face some of those same struggles that he might have coming through, but also the same to create opportunities for others, right? To help them create that opportunity, if not use this as a stepping stone to create your own passion, right? To create your own future. So a lot that goes behind it, but being able to do all of that and take care of people and establish yourself as a top home care provider has just been fantastic to see.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's gotten us where we are today.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a journey.
Yeah.
Founded in 1983, and here we are in 2025.
Yep.
Man, we have a powerful quote from your father that hangs over our corporate boardroom. Can you tell us what that quote is and how that played a role in his formation of Caprock? And then maybe what does that quote mean for you today?
Yeah, so his quote is, they wouldn't let me in the boardroom, so I created my own. And that was a lot of it was related to the struggles he had being here in West Texas 40 years ago, right? Being Hispanic, trying to grow a business, and fighting what levels of racism that he may have dealt with. And or if it wasn't racism, just the inability to see him as a professional and serious business person. And so as much as he accomplished and produced throughout his career, he always felt like there was just a piece missing, and that might have been the reason why. So if he wasn't led into the boardroom, he wasn't led into the certain level of leadership, C-suite, whatever you want to call it. He just decided that he's going to create his own. He's going to be that person and create opportunities for others. So ideally, that just means like you just don't quit. If you got your eyes on a passion, you have a determination, and a goal that you want to accomplish, go do it. Don't let anybody stand in your way. And if they do, create your own pathway and get it done. So that's it in a summary. That could be an entire episode on this. And I'm sure there's many other people that continue to talk about that, but he lived it, right? Yeah. And so my passion is to carry that going forward, not only for him, but everybody that supported him, my family, myself, and everything that we've stood for and grown to carry it forward just the same way.
Man, such a powerful quote.
It really is.
Resiliency and drive and, not giving up, sticking with it. So incredible.
It does. It supports the core value of drive, right?
Yeah.
That's why I love that as the first one, because we just have to have that, right? The drive. Everybody here's got a passion, and we hope that it aligns with what they're able to practice here. So drive that's a big one for me.
Yeah, man, that's good. Let's see. Well, you said it a little bit earlier, but you were essentially born into Caprock and have been around the entire 40 plus years of the company's existence. You've officially worked at Caprock. I was counting, prepping for this show. I think 21 years.
Yeah, 21 and a half. I guess
Yeah.
it'll be 22. No, it'll be 21 this July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You joined on
Right about
2004.
2004. Yeah.
Well, talk us through your journey briefly from where you started to where you are now in your current position.
And so we just talk about the 21 years. It started out in the accounting department. Right? Went to tech, got an accounting degree. I certainly knew I wanted to go into business. I certainly knew I wanted to end up here, but I didn't know what that pathway looked like, and I know that I had to understand business going forward. So accounting was, as odd it is to say, it captured my attention because I just thought it was exciting. You don't see too many people saying that, right, unless you're an accountant. But the way that I saw it is you just learn so much about a company, about a business, whoever it might be. You can learn a ton of it through the accounting department, just how the operations work, how the revenue is produced, how the money is spent. And there's just so much about it that attracted me to help me create a foundation for understanding a business. That was the direction I went. I worked for about a year and a half for a friend, actually his father's company, doing taxes, small tax returns, small books. I did that for a year and a half, and my God, that was the most boring job I could ever have. It's not for everybody, right? It's for some. But I wanted to do a different type of accounting, and about a year and a half after doing that, my dad let me know that there was a position open here as a staff accountant, and so came over obviously as quickly as I could. And then continued to progress. He started to have some health issues, and he had a cardiac episode that really turned the light on that he needed to slow down, right? Because I know what brought that on is obviously stress in the work, stress with family, so many aspects that build up to that when you can identify some of these things. The other reason is how can you eliminate some of those? So accelerating and talking with him, coming into, I think, one of the next positions outside of leading the accounting department was executive vice president, which was working up to this position. And man, I failed for so many years. I didn't really know what I was doing, and a lot of people could see it. But I also know what I had to do, right? And so you learn a lot through failure. You learn a ton through failure, how to get better, and I continue to do it today. Trust me, there's not a week that goes by where there's not a couple of failures that happen. And I think anybody could really relate to that. But it took me a while to figure out exactly what I was doing and why and what for. And now I see myself transitioning into sometimes weird to talk about yourself, but I've been led to be comfortable enough to at least identify that I should be seen as a visionary, right? So part of that is to plan the next 3, 5, 15, as we talked about, what's the next 25 years look like? As far as you can see what you want for the company, you don't have a crystal ball. So how do you prepare yourself to get to the next 25? What do you need to have to be adaptable? I see that certainly as my job. So it's been certainly a heck of a road traveled. I've enjoyed every piece of it, worked with some fantastic people, continue to work with fantastic people, seen people come and go, seen people come and grow. And it's been incredible. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
25 years, 40 years.
Quite the journey.
Yeah. I don't know that I'll be here in 40 years. I hope not.
We're going to try to set you up where you can retire.
I hope
at
that
some
we've
point,
created
so
a strong point that I actually get kicked out because I'm not bringing the value I was, and it's time for more to step up.
Yeah. Well, what a cool journey.
Yeah.
You've been on quite the ride. Started kind of at an entry level and worked your way up to where you are now, carrying on your parents' tradition, which is really, really special.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, we've been a little bit historical. Let's get a little informational now. Every business succeeds based on the value it can add to a potential customer base. So next, we're going to unpack what services we offer here at Caprock that can potentially benefit our clients and the community. So give us a high-level overview of our service lines that can benefit our clients and the community.
Sure. So high level, we'll start. Well, I guess the acronym we use is L&C, right? So when you say home health, this is mostly what people think about is the nursing, therapy in the home, right? So, excuse me, ideally discharging from hospital and or you just have a need, right? Based on your disease process and exacerbation of whatever you might be experiencing, and you need some systems set up in your home, a little bit of support, education, resources created, and then we need to get out. That's a lot of what home health. That's a lot of what people think of as home health. So we do have that, and those are primarily, ideally, what we'll call our Medicare, right, private insurance type services. The next is our licensed home health and personal assistance services, our LHH and PASS. That's a majority of what we do, which are our attendant services. So that's what we usually refer to them as. And so there's a little bit of a spread of different programs in there. We've got some managed care organizations that have inserted themselves into managing these, but we also work directly with TMHP as well, or HHSC, to manage these programs. But these are kind of what we call aging services. So a lot of our clientele in this area are elderly, right? And so it's tend to be end of life service as long as they do qualify, and it's going in and doing ADL, IADL types of support services in there through our attendant care, and so we call it also non-skilled, but that's the majority of what it is that we do. Our class program is also a Medicaid-based program, and so this is a level of service we provide. We do have some pediatric patients, but ideally it's a patient was born with or experienced a disability, right? A range of disabilities that they encountered before the age of 18. And then they are able to benefit from these services, which I believe well into their adult years, right? Because they have that need. And so we have a lot of family caregivers in this program, which is exciting to create the opportunity for family to be able to take care of their own and get paid, because I don't think that you get a better quality than a family member, right? Certainly a parent taking care of you. So we do have that program in a few of our offices. And then in relation to that, we do have a private pay, right? So that's private pay usually can be nursing, can be therapy, can be caregiver services, attendance service. It's based upon the need, but this is where patients will pay out of pocket. So this is a program I know that we're focusing on pushing this year to grow, because we have all the basics in place for this program that we can easily start it and provide this service to those in need. And then one of the newest we have is a remote patient monitoring. So this is a Medicaid, Medicare dual eligible based program that brings a service, right, at least a vital sign management to those patients that have diabetes or hypertension. That's where it sticks right now. So we have a patient base that can benefit from this, a Medicaid patient base that have limited benefits. I think we all know that. So this brings, it's another very basic way to manage the health of each patient, but now we kind of have daily eyes, right, through their vital signs. Now we can identify the need. We can get them in more contact with their doctor based upon what that level is. We can make a phone call, right, a nursing phone call to create an intervention based upon what they need, whatever their signs are, to help them understand what they can do at home, and to identify an opportunity for them to go to the ER or urgent care, right, to avoid a worsening condition and trying to get on top of it quickly. So we're still in the beginning stage. Even though we've been doing it for a couple of years, we're in the beginning stages to not only develop this, but include it into our value-based care structure. And so there's certainly more to come. I think this is going to be a trend-setting year for this program in our company. And I think we're going to provide a lot more education on how this actually engages all of our patients that we bring on, how it can be a staple practice for them, and what it actually brings to the table. And the other hope is to bring, physicians back more into the care, and ultimately create the patient as a primary person in their care plan, right? There's got to be some accountability, some education, and reliability upon that individual to manage their disease process as best they can.
Well, man, you nailed that. And I think tying back to why we do what we do, how we got started at Caprock, it's to help people. And I love that every service line you just named aligns with that. And I really love too that we have a holistic approach to take care of the patient in the home, from the caregiver services all the way. You mentioned our newest line that we're really excited about, in RPM. And I just think that's so cool, because even if a client has a caregiver in a home for, say, 40 hours a week, they can't be in the home 24/7, 365. Right. So to have that program, RPM, in there where we can be tracking and monitoring from afar is really remarkable.
It's remarkable, and then it's an opportunity to educate, right? To educate that patient how to take care of their process, what to do when, because we also won't be in their home forever with this program. So it's another addition to help them become a better advocate for themselves.
Yeah, really, really great.
Yep.
You already kind of touched on it. My next question was going to be, who do we primarily serve, or who is our customer base? But sounds like essentially it can be anyone that is homebound.
Ideally, yes. And so the remote patient monitoring, as we expand this, it's going to be on diagnosis based, really. No age. It's just diagnosis and benefit based. So it's a little bit of a new area for us because majority of our client base tend to be elderly, and or with the exception in the class program.
Yeah. Okay. Exciting stuff to come. I'm eager to see RPM really take off this year, we hope.
I am too. We spent so much time getting ready for this that I think now it's the year to just to really expand it, to really create some quality outcomes and gather this data to tell the story.
Yeah. So if you're listening and you've got a family member you think could benefit from this, definitely reach out to us. We'd love to help, especially anybody that has the diagnoses, like he mentioned, of hypertension and diabetes, which is a large portion of the population.
It very much is.
So
yes, absolutely.
That'll catch a lot of people. Well, give us a rundown of our company structure and the locations we're based in.
So we've got, I believe it's 12 offices, right? So we have, Amarillo as a parent office, and then Lubbock has a parent office, and they have 2 branch offices, one in La Mesa, one in Odessa. We have a parent office in El Paso, a parent office in Abilene, and they have Wichita Falls, San Angelo, and Plano as a branch office. And then San Antonio has a branch office of Uvalde. So we've got a pretty good spread of our locations across Texas, and I should know the number of counties. I don't remember it off the top of my head. It's a large amount, but we cover a large base because our coverage areas, our offices are based in regions, right? And the regions encompass a certain number of counties based upon our license. So we cover a wide spread in Texas.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about El Paso and even San Antonio, some of the different counties they travel to go make visits, and it's incredible. So we'll bring the number next time.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Total counties we cover for sure. Well, that was great. Thanks for a quick rundown on both our service lines and also, where we're stationed throughout Texas. Again, it's exciting that we can service so many counties and provide these services to a wide client base across Texas. So just briefly, we're almost out of time, but let's get into a few just kind of leadership questions.
Sure.
I wanted to discuss our February Next Level Leadership Tool briefly with you and hear what you had to say about it. But the Next Level Leadership Tool for February is what's called the Working Genius Assessment. And this is an assessment that's simple yet powerful. It's from an author and speaker named Patrick Lencioni. And it's part personality assessment, part productivity tool. And it really explores how you do your best work. What do you find joy in? And make sure that your role is aligned with that. And so the assessment categorizes you into really 6 areas, including 2 geniuses, 2 competencies, and 2 frustrations. And I'm not going to unpack all of those, just time permitting. But Carlos, based on the assessment, what are your 2 areas of genius and what are your 2 areas of frustration?
Sure. So my 2 areas of genius are galvanizing, which is rallying people and inspiring them to take action around ideas and projects, and discernment, which is using tuition and instincts to evaluate and assess ideas or plans. I agree with both of those. I do absolutely think they apply. But if you put them together and look at it and go down, I forget the categories, what they call them, but both of those together, I'm labeled as what's called the intuitive activator.
Yeah, the pairing.
The pairing. And so what that is an instinctive and confident decision maker, able to assess situations quickly and accurately and marshal people to act. And now they might not be 100% accurate, but I think it's that's the majority, right? I think I have to own that in my position, both instinctive and confident. But a lot of that's also built through interaction with people, right? We build all these together. So being able to assess situations quickly, some might not say that I do, but however, I will tend to take my time to try to be as accurate as possible and make sure that we have people to act upon these. But I also use a lot of those to continue for these to be my geniuses. because my frustrations are wonder, which is pondering the possibility of greater potential and opportunity in a given situation, and tenacity, right? Pushing projects and tasks through the completion. As those frustrations, we've been able to use this to find and align with those individuals that have those as their geniuses. And man, it's amazing how well, if you use this, putting a team together, how you can go from the beginning to the end with such organization and completion and comfort, without realizing you have to try to do it all. Right? It's eye-opening, and as frustrating as it is to see your frustrations, it's accurate, but it doesn't mean you don't have a certain level of it. It just means that doesn't make you happy. It doesn't bring you joy, right? So find the one that does bring you joy, pair with them so you can get things pushed across the line, or vice versa, right? Getting the wonder, or getting somebody to help rally people, right, to get a project done. And you can go all kinds of different directions, and hopefully people are diving into this, because I would love to continue to expand on this with everybody, as you do too. You're well versed in this.
Yeah, and we definitely want to keep the conversation alive
Absolutely.
around this, and make it a really a practical model that we all apply and share a common language around.
Absolutely.
I can definitely see you and your role aligning with your areas of genius you shared. And then, like you said, and like the model shows, the model's built on gears that are interlinked. And so I think it just reminds you that the sum is greater than the parts, and we need each other. We truly need a team to be successful.
Absolutely.
And that's like what you said, whether it's putting together a special project team, it's looking at everybody's geniuses and frustrations and finding where do we have a gap, and let's fill it in with the right people.
Absolutely.
And we've got some remarkable people that possess all of these different geniuses, so it's good. As a leader, what do you do to ensure that a good portion of your time each week is spent in your area of genius, those areas that bring you the most joy?
So really, it's collaborating, right? And so sometimes effective collaboration. So meeting with like-minded people to help drive some of your goals or your desires, right, to get across that you want to accomplish. And so sometimes people think meetings are a waste of time, and a lot of them are. They really are. But that's why they need to be intentional, right? And that's why they need to be, organized around a purpose. And then they should be limited. But sometimes, even when I'm struggling or I feel like I am, a meeting doesn't have to be multiple people. I mean, at least two, right? But it doesn't have to be like 5 or plus, or take other people's times. It's identifying who has some of these geniuses and interacting with them, so that way you don't frustrate yourself. You can get their input and their insight. Everything could be summed up into collaboration was a big part of what we want to push this year. But I want people to be comfortable understanding what they know, understanding what they don't know, and not worrying about asking for help or input or insight. Get familiar with your people. Get familiar with what their geniuses are, what their frustrations are, and organize, if anything, even brain trusts, right? Just talking things out, figuring out how to do things better, and evolving those that bring a certain level of value that you don't have. It makes you feel good. So it's those conversations, those interactions. So we do a lot of it with our O3s, right? Our one-on-one meetings. That certainly helps. Or just creating some time interacting with your colleagues, right? To just talk about a project, or doesn't even have to be work related, right? Just something you relate to help make sure that you keep that practice going.
Yeah, that's great. And I see you doing that. And I think another thing that you've started doing, I've noticed more of, which I think is really important, being a discerner is one of your geniuses, is you also need some dedicated, focused time to think.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the things that makes you such an amazing leader is you are very accessible. You've got an open door policy. You're always encouraging people to come in, talk to you, call you on the phone if it's at another location. But you've also acknowledged you need some protected time to just think and dream. And you said earlier, you're in your role, you're the vision guy. So you've got to have time to think, where are we going to go in the next 3 years, 5 years, 25 years? So I've also seen you do more of that lately, is protecting that time just to carve out some creative thinking time.
Yeah. As much as it is a genius for me and something that brings me joy, it's also, you guys depend upon me to do that, right? Everybody here should depend. As long as they want to continue to work here, they got to depend on me to continue to drive it, knowing I don't do it by myself, but I've got to be the person that's if not one of the main people pushing forward and creating this. So that's another driver as well.
Yeah. Love that. Well, again, if you're listening and you have not taken the Working Genius Assessment, we'd highly encourage you to do it, especially if you're on Caprock staff. If you're not, and you have questions about it, definitely reach out to us. We'd love to be a resource for you to help you get it plugged into your organization or personal life. But it's been a great tool for us. And again, much more to come on that topic. So I think with that, we better wrap. It's been an amazing episode. We got some great information. We got historical, got to learn a lot about you, Carlos. So thanks for being willing to share. Really, any final thoughts as we look to wrap today's episode?
No, so I know we're kind of the foundation series, so I get I would be in the spotlight, obviously the company as well, but we want some insights from you, some thoughts from you guys, right? What do you want us to talk about? What do you want to come on and talk about? What do you want to hear? Just as we stated last time, right? That's we got to get this established and make sure people understand who we are and what we do, and what a better way to create another avenue, right, for you guys to listen and hear and go back and listen again. But send in your questions, send in your topics. Let's get moving forward and figure out what you want to hear and what you want to talk about.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we'd highly encourage any sort of audience engagement. Send us your questions. We're also building a guest list. We want to have some guests on very soon. Yeah. So if you have any interest at all, we would love to host you. That's going to be really fun to have more of a kind of roundtable discussion and feature some of our amazing employees. So really looking forward to that. So yeah, send in your questions. Let us know if you want to be on the episode. As a reminder, engage with us on all our platforms. Check out our website, chhs.com. Check us out on Facebook, on YouTube. This podcast is also going to be on Spotify. So tons of ways to connect with us. We'd love to connect on any or all of those with you and follow along for this exciting home health journey we're on. Yeah. And with that, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for listening. If you work at Caprock, thank you for doing what you do to help fulfill our noble mission to keep our clients safe, comfortable, and independent in the home. And if you're a listener out there and have more questions about our services, want to know more, reach out. We'd love to help you. That's what we're here to do, is help people.
Absolutely.
With that, we'll catch you next time on the Caprock Life podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, guys.